Check out what the Jews are doing.
Make another chipmunk movie.
We've ticked off a lot of people, I bet.
Welcome to the 11ty Life podcast.
What's up, 11ty Lifers, and welcome to this week's episode of 11ty Life. My name is Matt. I play in this band called 11tyseven. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you're just checking out the podcast for the first time. Either way, welcome. You have stumbled upon one of my absolute favorite things to do in life, as well as a very kind and friendly community of people that love using 11tyseven as an excuse to get together and talk about other things that actually matter in the world. And pull up a chair and let's have some fun. A huge shout out to everybody who is joining the new 11ty Life Facebook group on the Facebooks, as our parents would say. You guys are posting some of the funnest and funniest things on there. I absolutely love it. A huge shout out and reminder to everybody who is entering the remix contest. You guys have until the end of this month to get your remixes in and turn them in, and I love it when people post the remixes that they're working on the 11ty Life Facebook group page, and it's a cool place to get feedback and affirmation and whatever else that you're looking for. So please, if you are insecure about the things you put out into the world, as I think most of us are, then hang out there and see what happens. This week I get to sit down with one of my favorite people in the entire world, Kevin McCreary. And for those of you who are consummate fans of the show, you will remember Kevin from the entire first season that we did of this podcast. He helped us sort of work through the conversations that we wanted to have when we were sort of chronicling our journey from the Christian music industry into adulthood and beyond. So if you are not familiar with Kevin McCreary, he has an incredible YouTube channel called Saygoodnight Kevin, where he absolutely tears apart all of your favorite Christian movies because they deserve to be torn apart. He's one of the funniest people that I know, and I felt very honored to be able to sit down with him and just have a conversation as pals, because we're pals. So please do not miss out on this episode of 11ty Life, because it is one of my favorite ones that we've done in a while. Hey, before we get started, just a reminder, thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the show, tweeting about it, engaging in conversation on the Facebook group, telling your friends all about it, and especially the people that are putting in all of your orders at the Rock Candy Recordings online store. You support so much more than you realize when you buy that shirt or that piece of music or that vinyl. You support everything that we're doing here, and we're so grateful to you for doing that. But hey, for those of you who love supporting what we're doing here and you're not really sure, and you're just in a constant state of being poor or broke, follow us on Spotify. That counts too. It's just as important. And a huge thank you to everyone who's clicking the follow button on Spotify and adding our songs to your favorite playlists. We absolutely love it. We're indebted to you, and hey, I've thanked you enough, okay? I've thanked everyone enough in this intro. So let's move on with the show, because you guys have a weekend full of fun to get to, and I know that you have to pass through our episode before you can start it. So, love you guys, and I hope that you really love this episode.
Sure. No, I'm serious. Like, that's magic to me.
Yeah.
Because I used to want to be able to do that, and I realized I'm not good at it.
Like, you used to want to be able to do mixing?
I wanted to mix records.
Okay.
But I just wanted to, because it's the same reason why I wanted to be a youth pastor, because I was in a youth group. But now I'm like, why did, I wouldn't be good at that. I hate kids. You getting all this?
Oh yeah, mic fiddling.
Good. Yeah. Let me move this. There we go. Boy, this is better than whenever I had to bring my own mic.
Did you bring your own mic when we did this the first time?
We had, I brought they're just handheld, Yeah. Right, something. Can't remember. Something was in my hand. Felt like a mic.
Oh my God.
All right. What are we doing now?
Whatever the hell we want to do.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
The man who needs no introduction because he won't stop talking about himself.
It's all about me. Look at me. Look, they can see me, right?
Yeah.
My beautiful face. His face lights up the podcast.
That was an awkward moment that people that listen to the show probably heard because we did a few episodes back. We had Leonora from 5 Iron come on.
5 Iron is stupid, and you are if you like them also too.
And she literally got onto the podcast and she asked if anyone could see her.
Oh, but she didn't realize?
Well, we in her defense, we were on Skype, but she was like, is this
That's
is
what
this
my
gonna
mom
be
says.
filmed? I was like, do you see any camera? Like what do you know what a podcast is?
Anytime my mom is in front of a computer, she's like, can they see me? I'm like, who? What?
She's asking the right questions.
Yeah, exactly. She's woke. She's woke in ways none of us knew to be. I mean, that was years ago before people knew that the NSA, before Snowden filled us all in.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Can we get into conspiracy theories here?
Yeah. You can if you need to.
I've watched all the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I've gone down all the rabbit trails.
All the YouTubes.
It was a few weeks ago. I actually went down the 9/11 trail.
Oh.
It gets pretty anti-Semitic real quick.
I
don't know if you knew this.
Really?
Yeah, that's the point where I was like...
Like, because it assumes that there's like a Jew conspiracy?
The Jews did it. The Jews did 9/11 is what they say.
I've never followed that.
Because at first I'm like, okay, I got... that I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
You know, like, that makes more sense. Where did the towers go? You know, all those towers, where's the rubble? Steel doesn't melt at that point. You know, all the loose change stuff.
Right.
And then I'm, you know, where's the plane?
Yeah.
And so I'm on board and I'm going on the ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Diving right in. And then it's like, and the Jews have been planning this. And I'm like, nope. I'm out.
I have been, so my YouTube rabbit trails now consist more of all of the scary unexplained footage that taken by drones or handheld camera stuff, like all of the, or the CCTV stuff that you find. So like, for me, that is like, that's actually more super terrifying. It's like watching horror film, like the best parts of horror films without having to go pay for a ticket. It's just all of this stuff that's on YouTube.
Wow.
Some of it does look really cheesy.
I've seen like weirdest things you'll find on Google Earth.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't click the article.
I didn't click it,
I was scared.
I saw the title.
It sounded pretty cool. So you went down that YouTube trail.
I go down them probably. I go down the YouTube trail. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to make jokes.
Please don't.
I go down those rabbit trails.
Some people take this stuff real seriously.
Probably once every couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'll see if who posted a new top 10 or a top 5 like scariest moments. And man, there's some of the stuff on there that you're like, I just can't explain that. All the time traveler footage and stuff of people.
Like, look at this guy wearing a 5 Iron Frenzy t-shirt.
in 2018.
The Great Depression. In 2018. He must be from the past.
He must be from the ska past. Yeah.
Fourth wave ska. Well, in that regard, a lot of people complain about the YouTube algorithms and stuff like that. It's just nonstop. Oh, YouTube algorithms are this or that. But I like it because when I watch one thing, then I learn so much about how there's an entire world of this thing.
Right.
Like I watch one video where it's like, what's that? And then, hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Check out all these other things. Check out what the Jews are doing.
Check out JewNews.com. Yeah. So
it keeps me, open-minded.
Well, I forget I forget that you can. So like I actually, maybe some people know this about me, other people don't. I learned how to build a house watching YouTube, and I built a house just off of tutorials that I found watching YouTube. I had some help from other people to kind of help me round out some of the rough edges, or like, I'm clearly not a professional builder. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a Jew. There's a guy I could tell you about.
I heard about him.
Yeah.
I went down that trail once. So.
But I forget that it's like, oh yeah, I also need to replace the hard drive in my computer. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I need to call my friend to take care of that because he's so good at that kind of stuff and he knows what to do.
Jesus?
Right. But no, actually not.
What a friend we have. Yeah.
What an IT support we have in Jesus. But then I was like, oh shit, like I can YouTube this. And I just typed in my MacBook, like year and everything, and SSD hard drive. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's there. It's there.
Linus Tech will help you out.
Oh my God, yes. That might have been one of the ones that popped up.
Linus Tech's amazing. Yeah. I just built a RAID server knowing nothing about it. No, I mean, people may not even know what that is. Yeah. It's like a big, huge hard drive. Yeah. It's a computer that is just for hard drives. Yeah. And I'm kind of obsessed with saving everything. And I lay awake at night worried that everything's going to crash. Yeah. And there's no like real protection against, like what we were talking about earlier, the magnetic meteor. The magnetic meteor that's going to pass the earth and then everything's gone, every hard drive. But yeah, I built that out of watching videos and educating it's just yourself. Amazing because maybe I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. I bought some of the wrong things and had to return some stuff, but just the education of it all, that now I built a computer. Yeah. Right. I know now how to do that. And I know now that I'm not going to do it for anybody else. And
Isn't that the thing though? Like you kind of do realize like, yeah, I can do this myself, but it's so worth paying someone at times, or to really know how to value somebody else's services. It's like, no, it's totally worth the money I'm going to pay you to take care of this. So I don't have to worry about it because it turned into a headache for me. But what I thought was even more interesting about that was like, cause you and I went and had Waffle House this morning. And then on the way back, we made that meteor joke. Like, cause I was having this sort of weird existential thought that I'm like, you and I live in a time where we're creating content and we're making albums, we're making YouTube videos, we're making out together. No one knows about it until now.
Well, and that's the beauty of the time we live in, Right. You can do that and it's just you. Yeah. It's just who you are.
Just who I am.
There's no judgment.
That's who I identify as. But like
and we learned how to do that with YouTube. And that other site you showed me.
How to be ourselves with you. Yeah. And how to monetize it. But it's like, what does it really mean? Like if a meteor were to all of a sudden fly by the earth and somehow the magnetic meteor just erases all of our hard drives and all of this work and all this content and all of the YouTube servers and all of the Spotify
internet is gone.
And iTunes and the internet is gone.
It changes. My thought is always, because I remember solar flares was kind of a scare for a while. Like, oh, there's going to be these huge solar flares that shake up everything. Right. And what if it changes the way magnetism works?
What, you mean like reverses the polarity of the planet?
Yeah. Like, so now electricity works differently. And so everything that we have is just a paperweight. And it has to be re-engineered, and it takes 10 years to figure out how that even works. Right. That the laws of nature change.
Yeah. Okay.
Think about that.
And
anyway, so I'm just tossing that as a more extreme of what you're saying. So continue though. I want to hear it.
Well, I actually thought that it was a really healthy thought experiment, because I think you and I pour so much of ourselves and of our heart and I think we do find purpose and fulfillment and meaning kind of in being able to express ideas and being able to create the content that we want to see in the world. And maybe hopefully, we think that maybe if we are lucky, there's this little bit of magic that sort of happens and this little bit of community that sort of happens in it. And it helps other people express ideas and it helps other people think through these different things. Or maybe I write a song, and if I'm really lucky, it hits somebody at the right time, or it helps them catalog like a specific moment that they have in their life. What happens when all of that is gone? Are you and I just what we create? But if all of the things that we have are gone, and all of the if the entire history of who we were and what we've done is gone, are we still Matt and Kevin? Are we still internally that thing, or do we have our identity so wrapped up in what we create that if our creation is gone, like, do we kind of have an identity crisis where we're like, well, what am I now? Do I start over? Do I keep doing what I'm doing? Or like, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think about this a lot, and I think about, I think about what I would have done in a different era.
Okay.
Would I have just been some idiot that people have to work with at the coal mine? Like, oh gosh, that Kevin guy talks nonstop all day.
Right.
And he's always making stupid jokes. I can't stand that guy.
Right.
Now I can just do that on YouTube and people don't have to check me out. And then I somehow found an audience where a few people are like, this is funny. I like watching this guy say things.
Yeah.
I think as a musician, it's different because you have a very rich history of people playing music. You know, like people have played music. King David made a living playing music.
Right. On the player piano. King David.
When it all gets erased, Trump's going to bring you in to soothe him. He's going to be King Saul, and you're going to be King David playing your harp.
That is such a deep dive Christian reference.
He's like, Matt, could you play that MySpace song again? The acoustic this time. I'm really angry and I need to my nerves calm.
That's
my
do
best Trump impersonation.
Yeah, I think it's terribly awesome.
MySpace. Boy, that would. But that was King David at the time,
right?
You know. So, but for me, what would I be telling stories around a campfire? Is that what I would do in the post-apocalypse?
You are a storyteller to some degree. I mean, I think maybe I would consider myself to be a storyteller. I will say this, in terms of like creating things, I know that I've always had this really hard time mirroring this idea of the artist as an image and as a thing that people want to aspire to, and something to be followed and something to be praised and lauded. And I always sort of felt like conflicted in myself with that idea of the artist, that this artist somehow has something that none of the rest of us have, and like we get to listen to what this artist has, and we aspire to be like that, and we aspire to that level of fame or that level of familiarity. And I've always felt like, well, maybe I fit more in the anti-artist thing because I want people to share in my experience, but I don't want people looking at me thinking like, that guy's the shit. Or, you know what I mean? That's too much pressure. I'm not here for followers.
Well, they're not.
Here, right.
Nobody thinks that.
I don't think that.
Matt,
I don't think
come
that.
on.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be... Stop. Everybody, please stop.
Well, it's like, I don't have anything that you need. And I learned that by watching so many people in Christianity constantly like telling other people, like or giving them this idea from stage, pushing this agenda from stage. That's right. And sometimes it's very overtly, and sometimes it's subconsciously. But it's this idea that I have attained some knowledge of the spiritual world and life and how to be here that you don't have and that you need. And you need my book for it. You need to come to my seminar for it.
Yeah.
You need to go to this sermon for it. And I'm so anti that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just am doing what I love to do,
right.
And I hope that you somehow find joy in it. And if you find joy in it, I will keep making it, and we can be a part of this cool little community together. And just let me be the excuse for us to get together. But I'm not the thing to be followed, or like, I'm not the pedestal thing.
And there's something, there's something to be said about enjoying getting together with other artists, because I love that. People who Because not everybody is that way.
Sure.
Not everybody is, because you were saying earlier when we should have been recording, but we weren't, about,
Right.
I don't think everybody sits around, talks about who produced or wrote or, like for movies and music, and you don't. We look at the credits of who did stuff, and we want to know what else have they done, and do this whole journey of exploration,
because we're interested in the source of the power. Yeah, like where that came from.
But not everybody is that way. So there is something. It's not a greater thing, but there is something to be said about enjoying finding other people like that.
Yes,
that you can connect with. I mean, I think that's why you do this podcast, is because then you get to bring other people in and talk about those things that you love to talk about. But other people like the product of that.
Yes.
And so, but I also think that there is something to be said for people who can articulate an idea.
Yes.
That other people feel but can't
express.
Put into words. And it's not like some better thing. It's just
being a conduit for other people's feelings.
I think it connects very much with what you were saying about sometimes I want to watch YouTube and do it myself.
Yep.
Sometimes I just want someone else to do it.
Yep.
There are people who are good at some things and people who are good at other things.
Yep.
And if I can make money doing what I'm good at and then pay someone to do what they're good at, we both benefit.
We both win. Yeah.
That's the free market. Yeah. And that's what this has all been about.
Oh my God.
No, it is true that just the idea of, and this is talent wise, like if a doctor, I heard some analogy, like if a doctor can do, he may be able to do everything that a nurse can do.
Right.
But the nurse may not be able to do everything the doctor can do, or may not have gone,
And the nurse can do nurse things more.
Nurse things. Nursing.
More better.
More better.
than the doctor.
So both win.
Right.
And maybe the doctor could do the nurse things better.
Yeah.
But so it's better for them both to be where doing, like, the patient wins.
The patient wins.
Yeah.
Right.
In our perfect medical system that we have, the patient always wins.
Right.
Bad analogy, but but you get the idea that, like, there's more productivity whenever I'm doing what I'm best at and producing what I'm producing, babies,
right,
and
everywhere,
and sandwiches, and then somebody else is doing what they're best at, and then you can, that's what money is that kind of like, here now we've centralized, we have a thing that we can trade, because I can't just trade. Like if somebody's a farmer and they've got a whole cow, but I can't, I don't want the whole cow. You can't trade me the cow.
But you're sort of turning the conversation into an economics lesson.
No, I know. You're right. But I'm just thinking about, as an artist, the meteors, man. The meteors may go by, and solar flares, and 9/11 and the Jews, okay?
Well, when you were talking about this earlier, this is what it made me think about. Like, we were having this conversation where I was like, most people don't give a shit who directed. Mm-hmm. That maybe they care about who's starring in a movie, but it's more like people that watch the mass public is just like, I either think the trailer is interesting or the idea of the movie, or I think that the cover art on the poster is kind of interesting, and maybe I'll try that out. Or I know Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's in it, and I'm going to go support him.
Because we got to support him.
But the thing is, like, the funniest thing for me about going to movies...
Who says that? That's a really Christian reference.
What do you mean?
Going to a movie to support a particular person connected to the movie?
Or just because you enjoy watching that person. Yeah, I
Does
think
anybody outside of the realm of Christianity go to a movie saying, I'm going to support the main actor in that movie?
They go to see the main actor.
Sure.
Like, how many times have you been in a conversation where
because I like watching that person?
Yeah,
I don't know. Sorry, I interrupted because I was like, would somebody say, I want to support Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so I'm going to go see the movie?
No, they just want to go see him do badass shit in the movie.
Yeah.
So, but the best part about going to the movie is the trailers that happen beforehand. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of see, most of the trailers that I'm watching that I'm just rolling my eyes at, oh my God, this lowest common denominator, people getting hit in the nuts bullshit.
Yeah.
And then the entire crowd behind me is somehow like there's just pockets of people that are just like, oh, we gotta go see that.
That'll be real.
That's crazy. Make another chipmunk movie.
I love seeing those furry little balls roll around.
That's something else. Or cute little dogs with CGI mouths on them. Like, no.
Yeah.
But there are people that love that. There are people that like, that is their way of tuning out. That's what they find funny. I don't relate to it.
Yeah.
I can't relate to it. So I don't know what's going on in their minds. But it is really funny to me.
You think it's escapism? Like,
Maybe.
I go to work at the coal mines every day.
You love these coal mines.
I just know I'm Zoolander.
Okay. Yeah.
I would literally die.
Right.
If we were in a world
where Kevin is
where Kevin
Zoolander.
has to actually do something for work. He's dead. He can't live.
I love it.
Really? Like I'm if I didn't have YouTube to tell me how to build a computer.
Yeah, but your job's not building computers.
I know.
And I also feel like what you do is relational. So like if you didn't have the medium of YouTube in which to do it, like you're also assuming that somehow you live within an economic system there where you have to do something like work in a coal mine, but that's not necessarily true. I think that
that's like
it is history.
All of history.
But for all of history, there's also been the entertainment industry, or at least prostitution.
Yeah,
and
that's
you could
true.
do that.
That would be me. That's what I'm saying. I'm screwed either way.
Oh my God.
I'm
It's
saying
so good.
I live in a time where someone like me could survive.
Yeah.
And I'm so afraid that it's too good to be true.
Doing what
and
you
it's all
love.
going to be gone.
But would you and I be doing
I'm really
vaudeville in the
exaggerating
20s?
here. Well, and that's even in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
People like us,
white
people, we wouldn't have been anybody.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean like the ability for people to be entered. Like my dad may have wanted to. I told you this earlier.
To be a nerd and sit at home and broadcast himself
but
on the internet.
He also made a family.
Yeah.
And now he's got to go work at a machine shop.
Yeah.
Like that. Is that what he aspired to do? No, but
do you also think he has the choice to do something else if he wanted to? I mean, he does have the freedom. Right? To be able to be like, I could change my job.
Yeah, but he spent 30 years.
You're talking about a specific point in time where he was like, he had to have a job. He had to support a family. Right.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I'm not saying that I would be lazy in a different time. I'm just saying it's pretty cool that we live in this time.
Yeah.
And that I think more people can be artists than ever before. Like King David's time, he got to do that. And he was the only one.
I'm writing this down. I'm actually going to name the episode King David and Coal Mines.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could have been in vaudeville, but how many people actually got to do that? How many people wanted to do that?
Like it wasn't a free market for entertainment.
Well, it just wasn't as like now the demand is way higher because there's more leisure, I think, than ever before. So we're able to, and maybe it's more of a niche market, but we're actually able to meet. I mean, just think back whenever it was 3 channels, there were 3 TV channels. So if you wanted to be on TV, you either, total there were 17 people
on TV. Right.
So, and that's it.
Right.
Of all the people in the country. Well, now there's so many outlets and you're not getting paid what, you're not going to get paid as much as the superstars, that Tom Brokaw or whatever was getting paid, but you can. I think this ties back into the being able to learn things. The access to education that we have today is. I mean, I'm a pretty big advocate of just not going to college.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be a doctor, maybe. Then I am like, please. Right. But there's. The access to education today that we could just learn the super high tech thing, or obviously you could learn how to build a deck if you had friends who knew how to build a deck, but that you can just you you're not so dependent on a repairman for your wash machine. Like, oh, my wash machine broke. My air conditioner went out.
Right.
I normally would have just, in a different era, there wouldn't have been air 5 conditioning. Years ago. I would have been like, oh crap, I don't know what this is. There was ice all around my air conditioner. I'm like, maybe there's a hole in it. Yeah. I don't know. Is it leaking? Is this what happens?
Maybe Superman farted on my air conditioner.
It just
froze over.
It's hot outside, but there's ice. What's going? Well, then I just looked it up on YouTube, and it said you change your air filter, and that's probably it.
Yeah,
50-cent thing. Switched it out, and the ice melts, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I just saved a ton of money. Free video on YouTube. I learned a thing. I also saved a bunch because we had a repairman come out for our air conditioner not too long ago. And he was like, you just need a new one. So he's trying to sell me this $1,500 thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me look it up on YouTube. Yeah. Looked it up. $8 part. It was the capacitor on Amazon.
Wow.
Bought a capacitor.
That's amazing.
And fixed it, and it was running until there was ice all over it. But then it fixed it again. I'm Frankensteining this thing thanks to YouTube that I would have just blown a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm sure I'll have to buy a new one, but not today. Not today. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, that we have access to people who are just like, I want to teach people things.
Right.
Why are they putting it on YouTube? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I like teaching people things, stuff that I've learned, stuff that I've figured out. I mean, you do stuff where you kind of teach people what you're doing with music and stuff.
Yeah. So, and I've actually had people write into these after I do these episodes, and they've been like, why are you telling everybody how you're making these songs and how you're doing this?
Why are you spilling the secret sauce?
Why are you spilling the beans, Matt? Yeah. And I'm kind of like, there's no secret sauce. Like I'm not afraid that somehow I'm going to tell you how I write an eleventyseven song, and then everybody goes out and somehow like works eleventyseven like out of the market.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about that. Like,
right.
I think that as an artist, your greatest asset is your preference. People are drawn
your sexual preference.
What you are drawn. Yeah. Where are you sticking it?
Yeah.
That's what people really care about.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Just ask Jars of Clay. That one time when they said something, I can't remember.
The Jars of Gaygate.
What a year. Literally nuts.
That was totally nuts. It's like, no, I can
I'm
show
sorry
you.
I interrupted because I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. Because like I can
if
show you.
If I didn't, I really would have interrupted.
Well, you could show how you do.
I could show you the world,
but nobody else is going to do. Like only I am thinking my thoughts, and only I am bringing together all the things that are in front of me right now.
Yeah,
and that is not magic. That is literally just I love doing it. It's magic. Hashtag magic. But you're doing the same thing. It's like, no, I have in my head what I want this thing to be, and I educate myself to get to the point where I can realize these things in my head. I can put them into reality. I can make tangible things out of, and I feel like that's what education is. It's getting what's out in the most effective way possible.
I always think of education as like just another tool on your tool belt.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I can do, but if I don't have the tools to do it, but whenever you get it's like getting a new plugin and you're like, now I can, it's not like, oh, this plugin's going to come out and then my job will be obsolete.
Right.
I think people think about that sometimes, but especially in the creative sphere, I think that's why I like thinking about what if there's an apocalypse? What if we were in a different time? What would I be doing?
Yep.
Because that idea of like being a storyteller, what is the thing that I have that is, and I'm sorry I take everything back to economics, but that is in demand that I have to offer that can leverage me that other people don't have.
Yeah.
And I think educating yourself on stuff is just icing on the cake.
Right.
And it it expands what you already have.
Yeah.
Because you're right. You can say this is literally how I do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I think of Penn and Teller did the ball and cup trick with clear cups.
Yeah.
And magicians were like, wait, they're doing what? They're going to reveal. And they do it. And you're still like, I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
That was amazing because it's not so much about, you can know literally how they do it.
Yeah.
But they're still so good at doing it that you can't just duplicate it.
Right.
It's still magic what they're doing.
Well, and not to I don't mean, I love what you're saying.
No,
I don't want to relate that to saying like what I think that what I do is magic. I don't.
I do though.
To me, it doesn't feel like that. But I look at what you do, and I do feel like, man, he's channeling something creatively that I can see. Like I see how it sort of it vibrates and it has this cool color about it, and it's like it's you. It is a hyper expression of all of the best parts of your personality. That's what your art is. That's what your YouTube channel is, and like
exactly.
Right,
I'm amazing,
and I could get to the point where maybe like I could learn how to edit as well as you and put together content as well as you, but I can never do it in your voice. It would just be an approximation of that.
It could be better. People might like it better.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I probably
don't think so.
but that is true that, I think a lot about, thinking about the machines taking over.
Yeah.
And those are the things. And I think that kind of relates in that
to the Matrix.
There's more machines aren't. That's the thing that the machines can't duplicate is personality, is creativity.
Yeah.
Is that human element, the uniqueness of the individual.
Sure.
And
where does that come from? Where do you think that comes
Jesus. Satan.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
One of those two guys.
one of the guys.
Which one's which again?
I think they tag team.
Yeah. I think that there's a soul.
Okay.
I really do.
Do it.
I think that there's a uniqueness of every individual that in our day can be explored in ways that in history people were just plebs. They were just another worker. You see powerful people turning people into numbers, and they're not.
Right.
Everybody is a special snowflake.
Spoken like a true millennial.
Yeah. No, but there's fear that I think there's a fear that will become that again. And the only thing we can do is embrace that we are individuals, and not in a special snowflake sort of way, but we have something to offer. Look for what that is.
Right. So I've had this idea that's been very similar to that. And I don't mean, we obviously can make jokes about the snowflake terminology because that is something applicable to who we are right now. This is like, that's a hot button thing that people hate millennials for a variety of different reasons. But I think, and I say this just off of my my understanding of the world as I'm experiencing it and the people that I experience on a daily basis and the thoughts that I have about humanity is that I think that everyone has a spiritual composition within them that is just as unique as their genetic makeup is. And that those things, like just in the same way that genes get expressed differently and they interact with, and they recreate themselves constantly. And when you procreate, you meld genes together and there's this like, this like crazy,
hot.
Just super sexy combo that Kevin and I are having right now about genetic sexuals. But like, I think spiritually, I think that's what I believe. That's what I want to believe about people, because I feel like I experience that uniqueness.
Or maybe we're just a bunch of globs of chemicals.
Well, I feel like I get glimpses of that when I see people create, when I see them draw, when I see them sing, when I see them write songs, when I see them express themselves in many, many different ways, like, or even just in the way that they love people, in the way that they respond to people. I feel like there is a very unique set of the genetic spirituality within people that is so distinct.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I
You
do
hate it.
too. I think it's stupid. You know, take a number and be that number.
Right.
You know, be all the individual is worthless. Be a part of the collective.
Right. Part of the solution.
I read A Brave New World recently.
Yeah.
And that's what that is about is just be part of, like, you need the collective.
Right.
That's all that matters. Like, you are nothing without the group.
Yeah.
And that's so counter to how I am. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why I see this stuff. Maybe I'm just searching for it so I find it.
Yeah.
But I'm like a reluctant contrarian.
Okay.
I don't like being that way, but I also am constantly like, if someone tells me you're not supposed to think or question something, that's what I want to like question.
Yeah, because why are they telling you that?
Yeah, like, what are you hiding?
Sorry, I've still got a question for
you. Are
you.
you lying then to me?
Right.
Why not just answer the question and then hey, is this real? No, it's not. Yeah. Oh, good. Not, don't ask that. You're not allowed to ask that.
Yeah.
But I don't like being that way necessarily.
Why?
But I also am glad that I am. Because there's a degree where I'm like, it's easier. It's way easier to just like everything just be the way that everyone says that it is. And I don't like, there's some people who are irrational about rationalism. So they're like, everything has to be not what everybody says it is. There's a conspiracy behind everything.
Yeah.
And that can, we were joking about conspiracy videos. That can lead to some irrational thoughts, like it must be some secret plan.
It's being contrary for the sake of being contrary.
Yeah. And that's annoying to me. But I think sometimes sometimes I'll get lumped into that, like lumped into
you and me both, brother.
Of other people who are that way.
Yeah.
Which is then being part of a collective. And I'm like, no, I'm not
part
in
of the
that group.
I know.
Oh, you're in the group of countercultural people. You're in the group of contrarians. No.
I'm just being me here.
I really do, there is a lot of, it's easy to feel just like it's easy to feel like you're all alone.
Yeah.
But it's also easy to feel like you're lost in a crowd.
Mm.
And those two fears and feelings, which are real, I think drive a lot of what people do.
Yeah.
It drives a lot of what I do. And maybe I'm just projecting my feelings on everybody else, but I genuinely believe that there's just this feeling of, Am I saying something? Is what I'm saying the wrong thing to say because I'm the only one saying it? Or am I saying something and I'm in an echo chamber and everybody who agrees with me is just agreeing with me and we're all just, we're
Do
all
you get
just
wary when you're in these situations, Kevin? Yeah, exactly. This is what we should be videoing.
Yeah. It's just a circle of a bunch of jerks.
Whenever I feel like everybody's agreeing with me, I get just as uncomfortable as when I happen upon a group that all believe the same thing. Yeah. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Why is nobody pushing back?
Yeah.
Why is everybody just patting me on the back? Like, we can't stop here.
Yeah.
We can't just like pull over.
But then when it feels like nobody's listening, like that Linkin Park song, nobody's listening.
Yeah.
Then you're like, it can get frustrating sometimes.
You feel crazy because you feel like I'm making a valid point and I don't know why, using these people's logic a lot of times, especially with Christians. Like I'm using your logic to get here and you still are like, no, but that can't be true. And I'm like, just why? And you still come up against this brick
you're straying
wall
from the collective.
Right. The tribe.
Yeah.
You're no longer part of the tribe.
I think a lot about whenever you start to believe you're right. And instead of, there's a difference between being principled and being dogmatic.
Right.
And we see this with, movies that I've reviewed and I think it's changing, but it'll swing back eventually. This collectivist idea within the church of victimhood. And if I'm a victim, then self-defense is justified.
Right.
Like, well, I'm justified because everybody's against me.
They're taking my freedoms away.
Yeah. And but we see that on both sides,
Right.
you know, like collectivist attitudes. Instead of saying, let's whether we agree with someone's thoughts or not, let's treat them nicely.
Yeah.
There's, well, I'm going to treat you differently because you think you like your beliefs are different than mine.
Okay.
Then I would treat somebody who agrees with me.
Right.
Like, I think Christians will, you know, like,
yeah, do a for instance.
For instance, the God's Not Dead movies.
Okay.
So like the second one, In God's Not Dead. Well, let's talk about the cake situation. That's an easy one.
Okay.
You know, make a cake and everything.
Right.
You either have to believe that they should make the cake or not. If when somebody that you agree with, is doing the same thing, I'm not going to make a cake for a KKK rally.
Right.
Now, on principle, that person doesn't want to do it, but like, do you agree? Is it just because you agree with what they think, or is it like, well, how do we?
And all of that's
people?
different. All of that's different when you start talking about, well, what should the law be? Should the law force people to have to, or to constantly give them the freedom of choice? And so it's like, well, I disagree entirely with discriminating in any form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also like, I think you should have the I think I should have the freedom to be like, I don't want to write the new theme song for the KKK.
Yeah.
If they ask me, which they won't.
You get to, maybe they will. Maybe they will. No, I think that that's something that is fascinating to me, is that central idea of freedom, of getting to, I think as freelancers, we see this better.
Yeah.
Like it makes more sense to me as somebody who picks which jobs I do.
Right.
You know, like there's just only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
And that the fact that I have an outlet where if I don't want to do a job, because I think it's a waste of my time, then I would much rather waste my time on my YouTube channel, making my video.
Right.
And so it gives this perspective then of who do you choose to like have a mutual exchange with.
Right.
I don't want to make your anti-gay video.
Yeah.
So I'm just not going to,
I don't have to agree to that.
I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
So to me, it's interesting to see then, you know, because I know the idea is, well, you're serving the public, but then where, to me, I would rather we all have the freedom to pick who we associate with.
Yes, I think that.
I think that whenever you start, you know, when you start feeling like, well, freedom though is now giving you the ability to believe things different, like believe things that I believe are wrong.
Yeah.
Then. But if like I believe that you smoking weed is wrong. Now I'm like then it's like, so like I'm okay. Or I don't think it. Yeah, what you were saying about the law.
Right.
I don't know that it should be illegal to be an asshole. Unless you're physically hurting somebody.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be hurting people because that's you're infringing on them as a person. I don't care why you're hurting somebody.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't, you know, it's those basic things like, well, what was their motivation for hurting them? Was it a good, you know, did they disagree?
Yeah. Is it involuntary manslaughter?
Was it somebody on my side who was hurting them or not? You know what I mean? Like I think that's the thing. And you know, it gets complicated, but those certain sort of like freedom of speech and okay, you're saying something that I disagree with, and you're saying something that hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
But like, I had an economics teacher who would say something like, sorry, I'm getting back into economics.
Yeah, absolutely.
You give power to your friends, you give power to your enemies.
Yep.
And that sort of, it's there that we all want to get to a place where we're kind of like, we're all, you know, if we're all standing in a room, you could have one guy who has a bunch of space around him, but then everybody else is crammed into a corner.
Yeah.
What if we had, you know, and that was like when there were kings you know, and so they have no freedom of movement, nothing. But if the idea, I think, of kind of what we all want is nobody's got a bunch of space around them. Everybody's got this an equal amount of space around them.
You feel like that's the equilibrium that we are trying to get to.
We only have power over like that we don't have like super centralized.
Well, yeah. So that's actually the thing. Like I have one of the reasons where I'm kind of like not that I've gone through in the past few years is sort of realizing that I'm, as much as I love my family and they'll always be a huge part of who I am, I don't think I'm a part of that tribe. I'm not like I'm so different from them. I've tried to fit in, and over
your
the
extended
year,
family.
yeah.
Thought you meant like your wife.
No.
Part of that.
No.
Thing.
I just mean like, because you grow up a certain way and you grow up with certain ideologies and worldviews and everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've strayed so far away from that. I completely lost my point.
But you don't
bringing up baggage.
You don't want those people in charge of you any more than you want. That they want you in charge of them.
So here's what I can't understand is why people who identify as being Christians, and I'm making an assumption, I'm generalizing right now.
Strawmanning.
I get that. Why they want so badly political influence and power, and they want legislation passed in their favor, and they want the laws of the land to be biblical, and they want everything to be Bible based.
And that's collectivist. This is right.
Right. But you put every other religion at a disadvantage, and maybe because you think that you're the right one and everyone else is wrong. But can you imagine a world where all the other religions have more political power and influence than you, and they're looking at which historically has been Christianity in many points throughout human history.
Yeah.
And Christians have been the minority. And it like
where
is it more important to you to continue to go back and forth and to build the exact empire that your own Bible has your prophet constantly saying, this is not what I'm doing. I'm not here to build political power. I'm not here for political gain. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for the army. Like, I'm not here for the vote. I'm here to show you how to live. I'm here to show you a better way of doing things outside of that.
Yeah.
And give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And let's move on with our day,
Screw Caesar, man.
Right. So I'm like, I can't understand in the name of Christianity and in the name of like moral superiority.
Yes.
Trying to acquire political power for your religion.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
But to me, it's for your club, for your collective, for your, religions come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's this people don't want
Buddhism, a little chunkier.
You think about
little plus
there's
size.
a lot of people, so I'm sure it's no surprise that I'm a bit libertarian.
Oh, what?
I'm sorry. It's interesting how people will sound super libertarian until they're in charge.
Right.
Until they have the power. You see people who, on either side, when they're fighting against the power, they're like, we need freedom. We need more freedom. And then they get in charge and like, now we need legislation that
reflects our values.
Reflects our values and stuff.
Right.
Just leave people alone.
Leave them alone.
And why does that not work? I think it's because, going back to what we were saying, people are individuals, and there's a million different reasons and ways you can discriminate against people.
Right.
Name because one. We're all...
I'm just kidding.
The Jews! And it's arbitrary. We need a world where we can be free to be that individual, because if you have this, thinking back to 1984 and A Brave New World, like humanity isn't meant to have this. All right, this is how everybody has to be,
right?
And I'm not saying that there aren't moral absolutes. We know that,
yeah.
And if the moral absolutes is don't go into, you're all in that room and there's don't go into everybody else's circle.
Right.
That's different than pushing everybody into the corner.
Right.
You know? And like,
Right.
well, now I'm the one who pushes everybody
Yes.
into the corner.
Yes.
Everybody stay in their spot.
In their spot. And you know what? When we have new people come along, do we make a new spot? Do we? Because that kind of feels more in line with
legally.
Sorta,
if they got,
yeah.
get out of here. If they do it legally, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm making a spot.
I know.
It is really convoluted whenever you involve collectivist laws.
Right.
You know, if we're going back to the Stone Ages,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much easier. You just hit someone with a rock and drag them to your cave. You know.
Which I kind of feel like is what people do.
Piece, you know, you draw them a picture.
Yeah, right. Because that's what people do when they knock you over the head and drag you back to their cave.
This has been a
Just wanna give
fascinating
you art.
conversation.
Yeah, it has. It's quickly.
We've ticked off a lot of people, I bet.
I feel like every conversation that I have with you kind of ends up turning to politics and economics, and I feel like those are things that you don't necessarily hit on in your YouTube videos as much as you could, but I don't think that's necessarily the platform for it. But I feel like you have a lot of really interesting thoughts, and I can tell over the past like 3 or 4 years that we've done stuff together that this is really important to you, like thinking through economic factors and political factors, and like and your experience here. Like as an American, like, yeah, just
maybe
I don't know, thinking through civics.
I think it stems from my contrarian tendencies and my belief in individualism and seeing people try to tell other people that they're just a member of a big old group, that hey, you're a part of this group, and here's all the rules because you're a part of that group.
And your identity is part of the group. It's not in yourself.
And I don't know. I think that there's freedom in
being able to leave the group,
and that be okay.
Yeah.
And I want to my whole channel's kind of my mission statement is encouraging people to think for themselves.
Right.
And so that's kind of the foundation of everything that I do. And I know people don't care about economics. A lot of people think that I'm weird whenever I jump into it. And you're right. I go into that a lot because I think it's a big part of why it's a big, like, human action is what drives the economy, and money makes the world go round.
Right.
And if we're thinking about it, to me, you know, you see this, get out and vote. We got to vote the president, you know, but nobody cares when they buy things. Like, nobody's putting that, think about who you're purchasing from.
Right.
Even though Walmart messes something up, you've got a ton of power.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that kind of power when you go to the DMV or whenever you write your congressman, but you have power to affect change at Walmart.
Right.
If they mess up your, you know, you're like, I bought this, and they'll, we're sorry. They're so accommodating.
Right.
Because they don't want you going and making a review about them on the internet. Like, so, but who you choose to buy from is a vote, and it's a more powerful vote than voting, because you could vote in Tennessee, for example, and know that literally there's one person you can vote for. You can't, because if you vote for someone else, you're throwing your vote away.
Okay, so to tie this into what you and I do, I would say, because as soon as you start talking about, hey, you vote every day that you wake up, you've already voted. The coffee that you bought, the way that you spend your day, the way you're going to respond to your family, like the way you treat people around you, you're voting for the kind of world you want to live in with every single thing that you do. And it makes me think, I don't know why there's not more of a conversation about, look, you also vote for the entertainment that you consume by what you support.
Yes.
So I was obviously like, when I see people like you that have amazing a Patreon fan base and people that are like, this matters to me and I have expendable income and I want to see this kind of thing in the world. To me, that affects so much more change and is so much more of kind of like buying local of that sort of idea than it is to be like, well, the Avengers are putting out another movie and whether or not it sucks, I'll go see it because I just love that franchise. You know what I mean? Like it's cool that we have franchises like that and that we have sort of a home, like cultural home bases that we're all like, I'll go see the new Star Wars.
But I like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of the same way, but it's like when I have bands that I'm really into, I want to listen to them on Spotify. Like my listens count. The artists that I consume like count when I see things that I feel like, well, I don't know if that's like the best thing to exist in the world. I don't have to fight against it. I just have to vote in another direction.
And that vote means
slowly move in another direction.
That vote means so much more. Like I'm making fun of the Electoral College and those sorts of things. But the cool thing about that is, like, I don't need 50% of the population to care about my YouTube channel for me to be able to do what I love to do.
Right.
All I need is this small group of people who really love it.
Right.
They can vote and it exists. And it doesn't take away from anything else existing. I'm able to do what, and I always joke with the Patreon supporters. I'm like, if I have to start making my videos on VHS and deliver them directly to their house,
you wouldn't do it.
I would do it. If the people who are supporting now kept supporting, I would.
And that was the only way to get in front of them.
Yeah. Because I already do mail outs of like, gifts and stuff and T-shirts and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'd mail out a VHS of my videos if that's what they wanted. They'd be the only one seeing it. And I think part of what they like is that they're giving a very small fraction of the people who watch my channel give to my Patreon.
Yeah.
But enough of those people give to justify me making it to my wife, who's like, why are you making all that stuff? Because of the money.
It's public radio.
Yeah.
Public radio still exists because 5% of the listeners pay for 95% of us to enjoy it. Yeah.
And then they also, they take guns and force other people to pay for it. But no, you're right. And that's the cool thing. That's the freedom is that, and I think that's what we were talking about earlier, where like we live in a time where you don't have 3 TV channels where only a few fraction of people can succeed. I can make I'm making videos, making fun of movies,
of other videos
that only the people who would like them know about.
Yeah.
And yet it's such a specific type of video, yet there's enough people who care about it to watch it.
I love it.
I mean, your King David wasn't playing...
Stop it!
King David wasn't playing pop punk, electronic...
For his time,
Christian,
I think it was pretty...
whatever, Like, he wasn't playing that because it's super generic stuff but you're playing such unique, nobody else...
Oh my God.
No, but you see what I'm saying? Like, a small band can serve this very small portion of the population. I think that's cool, and I think that it's important to realize that, it's not like that vote it's a vote saying, I want this to exist, and now it can exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's the only thing that exists.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's going to be as big as Transformers.
Right.
Because there is a big collective of dumb people who want to see those movies.
Yeah.
You're all dumb if you like that movie, is what I'm saying. Man,
I'm opening up the episode with that.
I tried to watch that, the most recent, The Last Night Transformer.
And it was the last chance you gave the franchise.
Yeah. Why? I mean, I should have been... They're just... Like, the Transformers are just cussing all the time. And I'm like, this is... Like, I don't care. But it's like, why? What?
Like, what's up, God damn it? This is I'm a transformer. Watch me transform.
Why? This isn't interesting.
It's not part of the story.
Yeah.
That's not part of your character. Like, why is your character doing that?
Well, yeah, it made no sense at all.
I love profanity and vulgarity just as much as the next guy.
or girl,
or girl,
or whatever.
But I just want a little bit of like context. I don't want you to just throw something, because then it's pandering. It moves away from being intelligent design buzzword into just being pandering to an audience. Is like, we just want people to think that they're tough, but you didn't make them tough,
right?
You just had them say something that you've heard tough people say, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story or with character development. Or
it would be like just putting a leather jacket on one of the Transformers.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's a tough guy.
Yes.
No, it's just what? It's very
Why
lazy.
is he dressed like Kaneki from Grease?
It's as lazy as it's just lazy, and sometimes like archetypes. The archetypes are used in storytelling, so you can get this type of person.
Joseph Campbell,
I guess,
the hero's journey.
Yeah. And that's fine, but you can go too far with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm using all of these as a way to not have to develop any sort of character.
Right.
You're just filling in the gaps.
It's lazy.
Yeah.
You're saying it's lazy.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. I feel like that's your argument for a lot of the religious and faith-based cinema that you review, is that why is it so lazy?
Yeah.
Why can't you tell a good story? Why can't you hire a good actor? Why can't you quit hitting us over the head and develop subtlety and nuance? Nobody ever, like, even for people who subscribe to Christianity and to the Christian faith, I promise you that not a single one of them got there by being hit over the head with it.
Yeah. Well, and there's something I think about Inception and just the way conversation built around this completely made up world.
Yeah.
Like, well, was it real? Was it not? And I'm like, it's a movie. None of it's real. It's a
right.
But yet people had conversations about that. And if there are true philosophical discussions that need to be had about faith and about, just the spiritual world, you guys have that. Why not go deeper? Why not leave people with the Inception discussion?
Right. Or they think that they have it. That's also a possibility.
You have access to that. If you're making a Christian movie, then you're making movie. You make movie. You'll make a movie about some deep stuff. Like,
you're claiming that this truth that you have is the foundation, the creation, the origin of all of life and death in existence. It is the purpose. It is the meaning for why we are here on the planet. It is the thing in and through all things that connects us. It is a lens through which to view the magnitude of a universe that we still cannot get close to finding the end
there's
of.
A lot
and you
of
whittle it all
mystery.
down to these bullshit movies.
Yes, there's a lot of mystery to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, and even the Bible says we don't know everything about it. Like that God hasn't, even the Bible says that God hasn't revealed everything to us.
There's some blank pages in the
there's
back.
a lot of room for speculation there. Why aren't you exploring those ideas?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because it's not safe. It's not safe to question.
Right. Why aren't you leaving people with
wheel spinning?
Yeah. Instead, you just give them all the answers, a bunch of shallow, whittled down, nothing answers, and then they leave.
Yeah.
Like, well, we really did a good deed.
Yeah. Well, I like seeing the Duck Dynasty guy in that movie.
Really are anti-gay, and I love it. They ain't baking a cake.
And they're famous to make duck cosplay. This is what I hate. I absolutely hate the worship of celebrity, because it's like, because Christians do the exact same thing where it's like, I can't even turn on Twitter without like Relevant putting up some article. And I actually like Relevant. I think they're really cool people, but I'm just like, I don't don't give a shit what Justin Bieber thinks about God.
He's a Christian.
I don't. I don't care like if he thanked him in his credits, and I don't care if he's dedicating his new marriage that may or may not happen to God, it's none of my fucking business.
Right.
Like, and it doesn't make me lean more towards religion or towards Christianity because somehow Justin Bieber is woke. And that's the thing, is you're constantly leveraging celebrity to kind of push the religious agenda of, look at all these people who are kind of coming over to
cool
our
now.
side. Yeah. I don't care about if it's cool or not. I care about how true it is.
Right.
And there's too many holes to poke in all this stuff, and that's too much fun and too necessary of a thing that we don't do enough.
It is.
Sorry, I'm yelling at you, Kevin. I'm sorry.
I mean, this is why I make, and I think this is why it all ties together to me, is because I want people to think for themselves, and if you are looking for truth, that shouldn't scare you,
right?
But if you're telling me that people shouldn't be encouraged to do that, then who are you trying to control?
Right.
I don't care who you are, what you're selling.
Yes.
Who are you trying to trick into giving you money?
Right.
People should be individuals and should be able to think for themselves and should be able to disagree with you. And if what you believe is true, or if you're on a search for truth, that shouldn't be scary to you.
Right.
And if it is, I don't want anything to do with you.
I will not bake you a cake.
And those are things that they should be making movies about.
Right.
Because that's interesting. Explore these ideas. Because you could be wrong.
Yes.
Like, I don't care how deep of a Christian you are, how faithful you are. You have to know deep down you could be wrong.
Quit giving people answers and start helping people search.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the way that like our lives work together? Like, like you and I were talking about, the people that we love working with the most are creators who are on a similar path.
Well, I
that
said
we're
the
on.
creator.
Right. They're like, oh, sorry. Right. God, you're gonna fucking sidetrack me. Like,
I'm sorry. You love working with creators.
Yeah, I love working with creators. But the thing is, like what you were saying earlier, it's like because they're on a journey, and I don't have an answer to give someone, but if I know that we're like on the same path, I want to help you on that path. I don't want to tell you what to think about the world. I want to help you experience it. It's just like when someone experiences like a tragedy, they lose a child, for instance. That is dark. I'm sorry, fucking.
Jeez, man.
But yeah,
come on.
why did you do that? They lose a child. Nobody
I don't know why
wants.
I'm laughing, actually.
Nobody wants them to come to their funeral, to their child's funeral, and tell them why their child died. Because nobody knows.
Right.
And any answer that you have is so pretentious. What they want is for you to sit with them and let them lose control. And for you to be there while they do it.
And that be okay.
And for that to be okay. And that's just part of walking along the road. And there's something so sacred and so that, to me, that is the most spiritual thing that I can experience right now, is just being with somebody going through life and being
Doing
there in
life.
those moments. Yeah, doing life. I love that. It's over-sexualizing the existence.
Dude, I was doing life
I was
the
doing
other day.
life and
So
oh my
hard.
God, with other Christians though, bro. It's really gonna blow your
it was
mind.
a real circle life.
Yeah. So
Circle of life. Whoa, that's got a new meaning.
Yeah. But yeah,
No, you're right.
you and I
Because
talk about this all the
when you
time.
work with other creative people, there's a freedom in that,
Right.
where there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't mean that if I share with you what I've experienced, then and you share with me, and those things come together, that we're not discovering truth.
Right.
It doesn't mean, there's no wrong answers and that everything's ambiguous and magical.
There's no moral code to anything.
But but if you share with me your life experience and what you've gone through, I have a better perception of truth because we've brought that together.
Your truth got bigger.
My truth got bigger.
Yep.
And that's what. But if you put up a wall,
Right.
on the border of your life, if you put up restrictions,
Right.
creative restrictions, conversation restrictions, because you're afraid that you might hear something that's going to counter what you think or believe.
Yeah.
because you're afraid that maybe truth will come out. I think that maybe sometimes it's like, well, what you have insecurities and doubts about what you believe, and you don't like that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, I think that's the best best way to be, is to be okay with the fact that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Here's how much you know, and here's everything that can be known. Like that, to use a Christian cliche against people, you don't know everything. And we can't go through our lives with this God of the gaps mentality where we're just filling in the blanks. Well, it must be God. What if you don't know something, but somebody else does know something, and you miss out on that because you put up this restriction of what you're allowed to ask questions about and what you're allowed to talk about, and that ties into creativity. And I think that that's what I like about boiling things down to, what if we didn't have the peripherals? What if we didn't have the extra technology that has given us the creative outlets? If we didn't have that, who are we? And we aren't nobody. We are somebody. And we get to explore that, and we get to explore it more now. And maybe it's more colorful now. Yeah. Sorry, I hit the mic. But there is something there that's true, and an exploration of truth. And I think that being able to understand that, the creative world is almost a reflection of the spiritual world, in that it's something that there's not always an answer. Yeah. It's a constant learning process and exploration, and learning from each other. Yeah. And finding out each other's experiences.
I love that.
Amen. I do. I mean, even this podcast, I feel like we've explored so many ideas that I am seeing things. I'm gay. I just realized. I'm coming out right now. I'm not. I don't know why I jumped to that.
So you better get this party started. Is it?
Like it's, I think growing up in the church, and we probably want to end the podcast now, but you got all this out. It's like, I just that kind of like a mixture between growing up in the church and Baptist, and then also growing up kind of a nerdy guy and being called a fag or whatever.
Yeah, so
there's all kinds of emotions around all that.
Yeah, I've actually talked about this with a lot of my gay friends, because of the house that I grew up in, or household that I grew up in, and because of the churches that we attended when I was a child, I was always like, well, I think by your all definition of what gayness is, I think I might be gay. Or I was always afraid.
Because it all has to do with things that you do.
Because it's so topical. It's like, no, I don't sexually prefer men. I'm very clearly not gay.
Yeah, that's
but I'm not scared of other people's sexuality or of how they express that. And I'm not scared to say I love the Pet Shop Boys and I love unicorns. Yeah. And color and fun, vibrant things. Yeah, and it doesn't. What does it matter? Why is there this like stereotype of what gay
and I realize
is?
that the fact that I deflect so often by making like a gay joke.
Yeah,
it's this embedded insecurity. Not that I'm gay, but that there's this culture
you and I
of
were
like
called
people
gay
always
growing up
looking
so
for
much.
signs of someone being gay.
Right.
And I'm like, I just want to make sure, because I make jokes about things I'm insecure about. Yeah. I make jokes about my voice being
Are you insecure
whiny.
about that?
About what?
About people thinking that you're gay? That's a hard. I put you in a corner with that.
That's a hard dick question. You bent me over a barrel on that one. Yeah, I would say yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's a problem on both sides of the aisle. I think that there's hardcore Christians who are like, don't do this thing because that's gay. Don't do it's all part of collectivism.
Heteronormative behavior.
Yeah. You better go hunting or else they're going to think you're right. Dads being afraid that they're going to raise a gay son.
Like what would be.
And on the other side, there's the stereotyping.
Okay.
Of, almost like hey, come on, just admit that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Do you think there's something wrong with being gay? No, I'm just not.
Right.
But, and the guy likes theater. The guy likes doing hair. That doesn't mean that he's gay.
Right.
Why are we putting people in boxes?
Because people I think people innately have bought into this stereotype.
Yes.
It's like, no, I'm not. I would rather read a book than I would tote a gun around.
Gay.
Right. Like it's just
Like,
because
how
I
is
prefer
that?
these other things. It's not, has nothing to do with my sexual orientation whatsoever.
Because it isn't an insecurity of whether I'm gay or not, because I really love my wife and love having sex with her.
It's
an insecurity
Right.
of the
I just realized what you
misunderstanding.
said. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great for you.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
It's great. So then, so you have this knowledge, but then you feel like you're walking around in this world where you just don't want people to think you're something different than you are. It's not like, oh, I'm afraid
You're trying to
people are
control the narrative of your image, though, in that.
Yeah.
But you and I have had to let so much of that go because we couldn't.
Yeah.
Because at some point it was like, you know what? Call me what you want.
Yeah.
But I believe about me what you want. I'm just going to go do my thing over
I'm
here.
going to go do my wife.
But I feel like we still I'm gonna do my wife. And I feel like we still have this residue of like, well, yeah, but I'm not this thing.
And that's
I know that you
evident
might
in the
think
fact that I'll make a joke about it. Like, oh, because we were making out. Now people know that I'm not gay because I made a joke about being,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I wonder if that hurts people.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I think context is everything. I think you and I have a very specific set of circumstances in the way that we grew up, and there's nothing nefarious or harmful about what we're projecting, but somebody with a different set of
maybe it's just deflection of what we know. It's always when you think the way you and I think, you're always trying to think of what other people are thinking and getting ahead of it.
Yep. God, that's so tiring. It's exhausting.
It is. But I have a whole YouTube channel built around that.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
People are going to think this about me.
Yeah.
So I better put that joke in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I do review, like I do get so nitpicky about movies, because I'm like, didn't they have insecurities about what people were going to think about this? Didn't they think ahead?
Yeah.
And try to like counter that?
Yeah.
Didn't they know what I was? Why did they give me such an easy?
It's such ammunition.
Yeah. Why did they do this?
Yeah.
Are they not as insecure as I am? Why aren't people as insecure as me?
You have built an entire career around projecting your insecurities onto others. I figured it out. It's the code.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's
See,
awesome.
and here we are, super duper analytical about that, which is all part of that.
Yeah.
I took a personality quiz and found out that I actually fall into this, like,
Was it the Enneagram?
I don't know.
Or was it the INFJ?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, nobody's ever, but apparently
You're the one thing no one is.
Everybody is
Like
something
Voldemort?
Yeah. I don't, it's like, but there's 17 or something of them. So everybody's like 5% of the population.
Yeah.
It makes everybody feel special. You take a test, you answer the questions as to what you see. I'm even analytical about the thing. I'm skeptical. Because I'm like, you answer the questions. You're the one answering the questions.
I don't want the thing telling me who I am.
But you answered it. It's what you think you are.
Right.
It asks you, do you do this? Whether you do it or not, you think you do it.
Yep.
So you answer it.
Yep.
And then you get this answer. You're like, wow, it gets me.
Yeah.
So I'm like real skeptical because I'm like, wait, no, you, Kevin, you get you based on what you think you are.
Right. But if other people were to take the quizzes
For me,
and
that's
the
what I
tests
really
for you,
want.
I want like if my wife were to take the quiz for
Yeah.
me and be
Well,
like, answer as Matt.
Here's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Carmen had to take it 3 times because I was like, that's not you.
Did you just keep going until you got to one that you
she
enjoyed?
No, it got
I
to one.
want you to be a different one.
No, but it wasn't her.
Yeah.
And so I just had her keep going until she answered the questions correctly. I was like, you know what? Just go make a sandwich.
Let me tell you what you are.
I'll take the test for you. I've always felt that way about personality tests, but there is a degree. I think you can find you.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert that uses humor and talking as a defense mechanism.
This is why I want you and I to. We should maybe do an episode about that, where you and I both take like the Enneagram test. Because my wife recently had me take this because she's a counselor, and so like their whole like counseling.
We should get her
crew.
in and just have like a session.
Her personality type is not mic friendly. Yeah, but just because she hates
Let's get her in here then.
hearing her own voice and like talking.
She doesn't have to listen.
I know.
Does she even listen anyway?
She's so much more low key than you and I. She doesn't have all of our baggage. She doesn't need the world to love her.
Is she? But I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's stop this and then we'll do another episode.
Okay.
Or should we just cut this episode in half and then?
We can end it. We can take a break.
I need to recharge my emotional batteries as an introvert.
Awesome.
11ty Life is a production of Rock Candy Recordings and Rock